Hi, so I'm going to try and narrate a scope of this project, uh, and then I can document it as necessary. But this will allow us to visualize about what we are planning to do and address some of the key questions. So my first recommendation is we do a desktop based thing first rather than doing an Android version. Uh, because number one, getting an Android developer will be harder. Plus, I don't have an expertise in Android, so I can't control it that effectively. But more importantly, if we do Android only, then we are not able to do iOS. Whereas if you do a mobile responsive desktop thing, then technically it can work on both. And then, assuming we get traction, we can always do these things as well later on. So keep it simple, start with the desktop thing. Now, the next thing is we need to build a lander, okay, which will explain the USP about what we are doing, why it is important, etc. Uh, I can, Sean and I can work on the creation of the USP. We can either take what we have done in DeFi deposit or have Rosie create the wireframes for this. Once that's done, Viraj or somebody we hire separately depending upon what the allocations look like and what technology we look like, we choose. They will have to translate the lander into an HTML, CSS, PHP thing. Laravel. On that, there will be a simple email register. Once the user registers, an email confirmation will be sent. The user can then confirm the email, and then he goes back to the website and then he signs in over there. Okay. Once the sign is done, we take the user through an onboarding process where we describe at a high level what this is about. And the end of the onboarding process should effectively lead the user to send dollars to our bank account. Okay. Once the user sends the money to our bank account, we have to create a mechanism by which we can record it in real time that the money has been received, and we send the user an auto confirmation. Now for this, we can either use NPP, OSCO, Polypay. I don't want to do credit card processing right now because there are costs associated with it. And these are fairly straightforward. We'll have to get scraping some notifications when the money is received so that we can do all of this. Now, once this is done, and only once this is done, we do AML KYC. Now, we need to be registered with Austrac over here and get a DCE license. Not a DCE license, but DCE registration. We do AML KYC only when the user has actually done some deposit, because number one, we reduce friction in that manner, get them to actually send money first, and also save costs because this thing costs money. How we do it, it depends very much upon where the user is coming from. If he's an Australian, then AusPost digital ID is the best. We have experience using it. If US, then if overseas, then we can either do manual or we can do some automated thing. We'll have to do some API integrations for this. Now, once the user is set up and verified and has sent us money, at this point we have to take a decision on what the system's architecture is going to look like. Is it going to be a custodial system where we hold the user's crypto in a wallet, hot wallet on our side, or we do a non-custodial system? The risk with a custodial system is obviously that we have a liability of holding the user's crypto. There could be securities regulations as well, security risks as well. So I actually don't recommend doing custodial. Plus, if we do custodial, it also prevents us from doing a lot of integrations later on. There are disadvantages of doing non-custodial as well. It means that there is a little bit more learning curve involved on behalf of the user. So it creates a little bit more friction, but also reduces our risk. And it also saves us from a lot of regulatory matters. There are a lot of, by having the users control their own money in their own wallet, that way we can always argue that we are just a digital currency exchange and not a managed investment scheme or something like that. So definitely go with a non-custodial system. Now, assuming we do a non-custodial system, we first need to get the user to set up a wallet, and that can be MetaMask or Argent or Trust. We have to pick one of them. We can always pick up MetaMask because that's the most common one. Argent is also good because they take care of gas to some extent, which I'll talk about shortly, why it's so important. Now, assuming we go with MetaMask or any other of those things, we have to do another set of onboarding things similar to what we had on DeFi Deposit and get the user to actually set up the wallet, make sure they understand the importance of private keys, seed phrases, etc. And once that's done, they connect their wallet automatically to our portal. Okay. Now, once that's done, we know that this is the user's wallet address. And now we know that the user has also sent the money. So we send the user's USDT. The user has already sent us dollars. Now the question becomes now, where does this USDT come from? Either we can buy it in real time, which I wouldn't recommend. What I would rather recommend is we just keep a little bit of treasury with us, and we just sell the user our crypto and buy the user's crypto back when he wants to redeem. And we can capture a small spread on that. But more importantly, it also reduces friction to a large degree. Once the user has set up a wallet and has USDT in it, the next step becomes, where does gas come from? Gas, as you guys may or may not know, is needed to actually do anything on the blockchain, or at least on the Ethereum blockchain. So we have three choices: free gas to the users, giveaway, and we incorporate in our cost of user acquisition to a certain degree, like $5 or $10 worth of gas. Second, another set of onboarding where we sell the user's gas. We also sell ETH. But first we explain what is gas, another set of onboarding, and then sell the user's ETH. And we can sell it ourselves, that's fine. But there is a friction associated with it. We can always sort of give some gas initially for free, and then later on, once the user is addicted, we can onboard them through another set of steps and sell them gas and explain them the importance of gas. third step is third option is, if user gives us $100, we give them $95 worth of USDT and $5 worth of ETH. Obviously, not everybody is going to understand that initially, and that actually could get us in trouble because people will get mad. Where is my money? So my recommendation is to do either this or do this, and ideally it should be this and then this. Yeah. Okay. Now once the user has some has his wallet, has crypto in it, has some gas in it, now we can actually start showing the users a few options on his dashboard on what he can do. Now there are again two opportunities over here. Either we get him through a series of onboarding educational thing where we tell him what is an automated market maker, DEXs, money markets, derivative protocols, futures options, put calls, swaps, and we can always have a tutorial thing where the user has to go through each one of them, and while the steps are not done, those things are locked. And then once the user is sufficiently acquainted and understands what he's doing, then we can start by deploy first to the money market, or we can skip all of this and we go straight from here to here. In the money market, very simple, there will be a deposit button, withdraw button, and current balance. That's it. And we can later on, the user can, as we add more features, we can start supporting other things as well, like Uniswap, future options things, etc. So we should not build all of the things on day one or support to all of them on day one. We progressively add new and new tools and make sure the user actually understands what he's doing and goes through the onboarding tutorials first before we release new things. So we should progressively make it a richer and richer experience for the user. The final stage is, how does the user withdraw? So he has some USDT balance in the system. He initiates a redemption request. The USDT goes to our wallet. This process is actually easier because this is easier to track. We know that the money has been received. And once the money has been received, we can either automatically or ideally manually send dollars back to the user's account. As simple as that. That's it really. We should keep version 1 fairly simple. All of this can be built in a couple of months, give or take, maximum, once we initiate development. We can pick some parts of it from what we already have. Some parts we'll have to develop ourselves. But this is it.